Today is oh okay, there we go. Now we're live. It is already June. Wow. It is June 3rd. And we are here on Pacific. No, we're on Central Time. 8:30 p.m. Saturday, late rainy afternoon. And we are about to go over this discussion for the case, which is called Zoe's Kitchen. Brentwood Associates exiting Zoe's Kitchen. All right. So, oh, hold on. Let's make it log me out. Let's make me log into a new window. Okay. So, come on now. Don't do this to me. Oh, okay. Okay. I see how it is. I was on the wrong thing. Okay. Here we go. Case discussion. All right. Opening prayer. I think you said last time. I can say it this time.
Okay.
All right. Dear Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this opportunity that we have to meet as a group. We pray that we'll be able to understand the group, the case study, and that we may learn about how to be, how to make better decisions. And these things we pray for in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. All right. So, spiritual thought, you got anything?
No.
All right, now do I. This week has been pretty tough. Okay, so I can go ahead and read the first question.
Okay.
Put yourself in the shoes of Brentwood Associates Management. You must decide whether or not you will exit Zoe's Kitchen now, and if so, what is the best exit option? As a group vote, what should Brentwood do with Zoe's Kitchen? So what say you?
I put that they should wait and grow the business until it's more valuable before exiting. What did you put?
Okay. I had not come to a conclusion up until we had started our before we started recording our discussion that we had. But looking at those numbers, yeah, I would definitely say hold on, because if you're taking the earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and annuities, and you're using that as kind of as how much money you have, and you subtract it from the average cost it is to get into an IPO, they are, let's see here, plus, nope, minus, and they are $2.8 million short. And that's according to average IPO costs. So, yeah, that, and I don't think buying to or selling to a strategic buyer is going to be the best thing, just because they have so much more potential. If they just waited maybe another year or two, when they got more moolah money. So, yes, wait.
Yeah, I said like I feel like there's no point in trying to release an IPO when they have, because they obviously had a bunch of concerns about if they should or shouldn't. So I feel like it would be a lot clearer when the time is right.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest reasons he was debating it was because one of their is it one of their biggest competitors, Noodles and Company, did it, and so just because in business you're supposed to, yeah, it's you have to compare yourself to your own market share, but at the same time, if you're a brand new company, you've got to give yourself time to grow.
And I feel like if they were comparing themselves so much like with Noodles and Company, that they should have seen that like Noodles and Company released an IPO when they were making like what I think it said like $300 million in revenue.
Yeah,
And like at this point in time, I think they're only making about like 80. So, you know.
yeah, yeah. They just um, and I'm not entirely certain, but I'm pretty sure that Noodles and Company have been out longer than
That was
Zoe's.
yeah. So there's that too.
Yeah, just give a little bit more time. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and read the next question.
Yeah, as a group, allow each individual to state his or her position. If you all agree on the outset, take a counter position and explore why you should consider those other options. Why does Brentwood want to exit now? What did you put for that?
For that, to me, like I said, it looked like um, they maybe wanted to jump the gun with Noodles and Company. So to me, it looks like he wants to exit um, because of that. That's pretty much all I've got.
Yeah, I put that in, I think somewhere in the case, it said that if they, the potential that if they want to IPO later, the conditions, like the window opportunity for a good IPO in like this kind of market, um, the window was really short to get like a good opportunity to have like a successful release. And so they didn't have like, I felt like they were just really anxious about they're getting kind of anxious and they wanted to cash out and move on to like the next best thing. Because I think
Okay.
in the case it also said that Brentwood Associates only really holds on to a company for about like 6 years and then like sells them and then like moves on.
Okay, I didn't even see that. So
Yeah.
okay.
And so then
Well, and also kind of to piggyback on that, on your answer, he also said that it was now 2013, so the market was in a there it was 4 5 years after the recession had hit. So now things only had are in a direction to go up, and if there's the speculation that if you wait too much longer, it will plateau or either go down. So the market is always changing.
Yeah, for sure. So
Always changing.
yeah. And then what are some reasons for holding now? The potential of being able to do what Noodle and Companies has done. Since they want to look at what they since they want to compare themselves to them. Like I was saying, like Noodles and Company, I was saying earlier, Noodles and Company, they released their IPO when they were making $300 million. So they're not making that much money yet. And so I think if they want to get a good gain, they should just wait a little bit, hold out a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And like, why not? Like they did seem like they were confident in being even better than what Noodles is. So, why not boost marketing in the meantime and continue to grow and IPO when it's more lucrative for them?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, if you want to, talking about like what can go right for holding on now versus exiting. Just like you said, they can grow more to where the expenses for doing an IPO won't seem like such a big of a deal because their revenues will be a lot larger. And then also, as for like if they were to exit now and IPO now, as for what could go wrong with that, they go ahead and do an IPO. They somehow manage to just have enough money to do it, but then they don't grow like they thought they would have grown, and all of a sudden they've got they're still paying off expenses from the IPO, and they have that plus 1 to 2 million of extra fees that they have to pay for a public accountant who can get their information out to the public market, and just more expenses to be out in the public market. And if they don't continue the growth rate that they're at, then that could be a very big they could find themselves up a creek without a paddle.
Yeah, for sure. Like, especially like what you said with the IPO, like if they do come out, it might not be as good as numbers as they anticipated. And I felt like there wasn't enough hype as well with it. Because, usually when companies are like about to release or launch, the release of their IPO, they have, all this hype and like news about it, and they just, did it. And so that was like one of the big risks too, is that their, numbers weren't going to be as good as they were hoping for.
Yeah. No, that's what I've seen with I did my internship with Mississippi Music, and they did an IPO pretty much. It was like 10 years into the company, but it hasn't really helped them at all.
Yeah.
Like, to give you an idea, they're renovating the Hattiesburg store, but they don't have enough money to actually change the outside look. So they pretty much just put down new carpet, put a fresh batch of paint, and they actually haven't made the structural changes that they need to keep that 70-year-old. No, that building is older than 7 years old. That building is like 100 years old.
Oh,
and
wow.
It actually needs to be, like, the code needs to be updated, but they don't have the money for it. So, like, and they became public, and then they didn't have that growth that they thought they were going to have, because they thought the IPO was going to help boost their growth, but they never got it. So they closed down 2 stores because they had 6 stores in Mississippi. Now they're down to 4.
Oh, yikes. Wow.
So, yeah, it's been interesting to see their numbers. But yeah, anyways, okay. So, as a group, allow each individual to state his or her position. If you all agree at the outset, excuse me, take a counter position and explore why you should consider those options. So, counter position, exiting now. Why would you want to consider exiting now?
Well, depending on like which option you choose, like it'd be a lot easier, like if you were to sell it to like a financial sponsor or like a strategic buyer, it'd be a lot easier to just sell it and then not worry about the company. Like if that's the way you wanted to go, it'd be easier just to like get as much money as you can from it and then just be like, oh, I'm like done, can move on and invest in whatever else, start a new business, buy an island, whatever. Yeah, whatever you want.
No way. I'm gonna buy myself a Cessna Jet 4. Oh. Yeah. All right.
So then, which one are we on? 3, or are we still on?
It's still technically question 4. What are some reasons for holding on now? Okay, I think we've been over that.
Yeah.
What can go right under each scenario? Would go wrong.
No,
Yeah, okay, we've been over that.
So how much?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you're fine. You're fine. So then we're on
Go ahead. Yeah, 5.
So how much is those worth under each exit option? Just because how you got the answers. So yeah, we discussed this before actual recording, but yeah. So I got for the IPO valuation, I got around 228 million. And then for the strategic investor option, I got 141 million. And then for the financial buyer alternative, I got 87 million.
Okay. Yep, I got those numbers too after you had explained how to do it. So.
Yeah, after just taking the EBITDA and then using the multipliers that they give in the case.
All right.
And so, what differences did you observe in the valuations based on who buys the company?
Well, through an IPO, obviously their value would climb up quite a bit more than selling to an individual buyer for certain. So yeah, they would be valued a lot higher, obviously at 228 million versus 8 million and 14 million.
I just put that because. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I know, yeah, but the big question is that enough to, like, if they wanted to, I'm talking about going back to the IPO. Is the valuation enough to give them that boost of growth? And the answer is no, it's not.
It's not. I don't think it is, at least, either. And so
sounds like a lot of money.
It does, but I mean, for the potential that they have, that's really like,
yeah.
So, why would anyone else sell to a financial instead of an IPO? The same thing that I said earlier. I guess for that one, I put that, you don't have to worry about the company basically anymore. Like, you sell for 141 million and you're like good to do whatever. You don't have to wait like for an IPO. You don't have to get the extra like management, the extra like time it takes, the lawyers, like all the efforts it takes to put an IPO out there, because that's a huge project to take on. Not every founder, not every CEO wants to do that, because it's giving parts of your company and like parts of the ownership away to whoever can afford it. So I think it just depends on like where the CEO or like the owner is at in life, because you either want 100% ownership of your company, or sometimes you just want to be like done with it, or sometimes you just want to give like let someone else handle half like part of it.
Yeah. As a private equity firm, to me, as for why would anyone sell to a financial buyer, coming from well, I'm not saying I'm coming from, but just from the perspective of a private equity firm, like if you can see that your company is either not doing as well as it could, or if the you maybe just got too much on your plate, then I could see how you'd want to sell to maybe a financial buyer. But like if you've got the time and you don't have too many other things on your plate, and you've actually got the time to invest in the company and help them get to a point where they can do an IPO, I think it could make their private equity firm. It could help the I guess the resume of the private equity firm. I don't know. I think if I was looking into the private equity firm, I'd like to probably see that they've helped other companies with a successful IPO. I think that'd be good on their resume as a company.
Yeah, I didn't think about that actually. Yeah. Interesting.
That's just sort of a playing devil's advocate there again.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's a good.
but yeah. So is that it?
I think so.
Those all the questions?
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool beans. Thanks for helping out.
Yep. Guess I'll see you next week.
Yep. Next week, if we can Tuesday, if not Wednesday. I don't have anything that'll be getting in the way of meeting next week, so I think we should be good. So.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks. Bye.
All right. Have a good one.